Hi, everyone. I'm here to talk to you about our Foundational Health series, and we are on pillar number 5. We've already covered nutrition and exercise and hydration and stress. This one is about sleep, and it's a really, really important topic, and I know so many people that have problems with it, myself included. Sleep doesn't come easily to most people because I think we live in this stressful environment and we deal with stress on lots of different levels, and it shows up in our sleep quality. And there's a lusciousness to sleep, a lusciousness. When you have a good night's sleep, you feel amazing in the morning. Conversely, if you have a bad night's sleep, you don't feel so great in the morning. So, did you know that about a third of our lives are sleeping? A third of our lives we spend sleeping. And so many people talk about the quality of the bed or the quality of the room. And those things are all important. But the way I want to look at it is how can we relate the sleep and the quality of our sleep to actually our health and vitality? When we link those two together, we start to think about, why do we want to have a good night's sleep? Well, you feel energized for sure. And I just said you feel luscious and wonderful in the morning. But do you know some of the things that you might not realize that actually happen while you sleep and helps us to function better? So the first one is that your brain flushes toxic byproducts while you sleep. It's similar to a lymphatic drainage. So every night when you fall asleep at night, your brain actually flushes the toxins that build up in the brain itself. And a lot of people just really don't even know that. The brain actually makes proteins called CYTOKINES that fight inflammation and support our immune system. So when we're not sleeping well, we don't build these proteins up in our body and we can't fight the inflammation and have a strong immune system. So many times, and in fact myself included, I think about our physical body, but I don't think about our brain doing these things, but they actually are. Our brain actually helps to regulate our metabolism in the way that we have a glucose metabolism that we manage throughout the day, and our brain actually manages at night. It helps us to keep a more healthier weight. Our brain helps to support our mental health, specifically with depression and anxiety. You can think of it as a brain restructuring every single night. And it also can help improve our concentration and our productivity. So kind of big deals. Those are 5 big things that we have to manage throughout the day. We want to have optimal vitality throughout the day. If we don't get good sleep, those things don't happen for us. So I've heard this term before. Have you ever heard it? It's called sleep hygiene. So how do you feel your sleep hygiene is? Do you have good sleep hygiene? Sometimes I do. But here's a little list, or symptoms, if you will, if you don't have good sleep hygiene. Because some people just say, I don't really need that much sleep. I can function in 4 to 5 hours. The experts say 7 to 8. Pretty much across the board, 7 to 8. And if you go on less sleep, it's basically not optimal. So here's a few symptoms. You feel fuzzy, or you're not clearly thinking. You have weight gain. You have memory loss or forgetfulness. Or you have depression or moodiness. You can have inability to concentrate, fatigue, and here's some big ones: sleep deprivations associated with heart disease, high blood pressure, stroke, and diabetes. They're directly related, which is why so much of the industry and the medical world now are focusing on sleep patterns with people. So where do you think you fall on the sleep scale? Do you have pretty good sleep most of the time? In one of my other videos, I talked about the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time, you're doing the best you can, and 20% of the time, it's a little fudgy. So could you say that 80% of the time, you're sleeping really well? Most of the time, most of the people I talk to, the answer is no. So, do you know why you don't sleep well? there's specific biological factors that actually control our sleep-wake cycles. One is called sleep-wake homeostasis. And it basically is the system that signals when to sleep and when to wake up. And that's a balanced action in our body, in our brain specifically. And the other one is the circadian biological clock, which a lot of you have heard about circadian rhythms, and it's really important to follow the light and the dark in nature. The circadian biological clock is our system that regulates the time of periods of sleep to wake time. So how long do we sleep and how long are we awake? Directly related to the sun outside and the nighttime. So that's like a natural rhythm that we have. And when we don't sleep well, or we don't take care of ourselves in a way to sleep well, those natural systems just start to go out of whack. And then we can't get a good night's sleep. Hormone imbalance is another big one that affects our sleep patterns. This is both for men and women, but women seem to have a stronger relationship with this. Starts with perimenopause around mid-40s, and it moves up based on our hormone imbalances as we age. So that's something to really look at with a functional medicine doctor or integrative medicine doctor. Alcohol and caffeine consumption can really affect your sleep. We know that when you drink alcohol, especially if you drink a lot, it will disrupt your sleep patterns tremendously, and then we won't get a good night's sleep. Same thing with caffeine. We all know that caffeine later in the day absolutely has something to do with it. I don't even care if you say, oh, I can drink coffee at 6 o'clock at night. No, not really. Your body is not completely resting. If you eat late or you eat heavy foods at night, that can affect your sleep pattern. Medications can affect your sleep patterns, and also the big one, screens. Any kind of screens at night, late at night, definitely affect our biological rhythms where we're not sleeping well. So do you do any of those? Do you have any of those issues? I know I'm a woman that's older. My hormone imbalance is definitely a factor. I've worked really hard at turning the screens off at a certain time of day so I'm not affected. I try to eat earlier in the evening, all those things that we know to do. So I have like a list, if you will, of things that you could check off. Like, how do you work towards better sleep? The one thing I do want to mention is that I did a Ayurvedic evening routine video a while back, and it directly talks about your evening routine and how you can set yourself up for really good sleep. So I would say go back and look at that Ayurvedic evening routine video. The other thing I would say is to watch your foods. What kinds of foods do you eat at night? How late do you eat at night? The stomach really does need to be empty when you go to sleep so that your liver can detoxify itself. So if you're eating at 10 o'clock at night, you're not really going through the full detoxification process until like 2 or 3 in the middle of the night, which is really late for that process to happen. It affects our REM sleep. So the earlier you eat, the better you can get into REM. Some things that you might not realize is that there's foods that actually have natural melatonin in them that can help you if you eat them with your meal in the evening. Not right before you go to bed, obviously, but maybe with your dinner. Goji berries are really big, raspberries, almonds, walnuts, bananas, pineapples, and oranges. All of those have melatonin qualities that can help you produce melatonin to help you sleep. So a simple thing that maybe add a bowl of berries for a little dessert, or putting almonds in your salad, or whatever, stuff like that. I would say definitely, because I work with essential oils, please use essential oils in your nighttime routine. Some of the common ones are lavender or vetiver or Roman chamomile. I work with do-terra, and I would only recommend that particular company, but if you have a pure essential oil that you like to use, then put it in your diffuser next to your bed before you go to sleep, or put it on the bottoms of your feet, and it will help to calm your tissues. Exercise, if you can exercise every day, break a mild sweat. I talked about this in my exercise video. It will help your sleep quality. And again, consistency over time. So don't work out like a crazy person once and then don't do anything all week. Go for a walk, break a little sweat, do a little bit of yoga, something that's going to get your body moving, and your body will feel tired at the end of the day and want to go to sleep. Mindfulness practices, we talked about turning the screens off. I usually say at least an hour before you're going to go to bed. So if your bedtime is at 10, make sure all your screens are off at 9. Try to do something like journal or read something that's either lighthearted or spiritual before you go to sleep. Keep the lights low in your bedroom. Even if you're reading, don't turn on an overhead light because it's harder on your eyes and it keeps your brain active. And I would say keep a beautiful space in your bedroom, something that feels really, sacred and beautiful, and it makes you want to be in there. Lastly, I just want to mention that the latest research tells us how powerful and important sleep quality really is. It's not a luxury. It's actually a critical component of our wellness. And so focusing and assessing whether you are getting the quality sleep you need so that you can live the vital health that you want to live and the amazing life you want to have is something really to look at. Again, reach out to me if you need more personal help. These are general guidelines for a general audience. And please comment on this video. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and let me know how you're doing. I really appreciate you staying with me through these pillars of foundational health.